This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, everyone. So today, before I will welcome back Ashala Yardley with me again, I just want to say, if you haven't checked out my Patreon account yet, please do. You can support me on my Patreon as well. I have 3 tiers. The link is down below. Join my mailing list, follow me on Instagram. And if you would like to read my books, you can find them on my website. Everything is down below. So welcome back, Ashala. Very good to see you again.
Lovely to see you as well.
So happy to see you. And today I prepared 3 questions. One is a softie, 2 are not.
Okay, where should we begin?
No, but it depends how we look at it, because, you know, like when you look back and connect the dots, pretty much all of them are softie. So, what I would like to start with, as I truly know in my heart everything what's happening, this is, let's say, God's plan. This is God's timing, God's plan, universe, source, how people want to call it. But I would like to start with this whole situation, and I want to use the words carefully, because this is very loaded subject as far as how much of it is propaganda, how much of it is not, how much is lies, how much is manipulation, where is really the truth. I want to start with Ukraine, because what's really, well, first of all, you know, Poland is right next to it, and we, for some reason, believe in the United States so much, which it's interesting, the support, how this has been unfolding throughout the history. But American troops has been sent to Poland and all of this. Now, as I just read, and I don't think this is true, but this went into information that Ukraine president said that Russian forces are trying to seize the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, which I remember Chernobyl. I was 8 years old, by the way, when it exploded, and I had to go to the primary school, and they gave us to drink some kind of liquid to, I don't know, to break down whatever the radiation.
Iodine likely.
Oh, yeah. Iodine, correct. Thank you, Ashala. Exactly. So Chernobyl, I will never forget this moment, because I was, yes, no, for real.
I'm just getting the chills all over me telling this personal story. Yes,
it's so crazy, because my hometown is on the very, very west border. So that happened on the completely opposite side of the country, but I'm sidetracking. What I would like to ask you, first question, Ashala, then look into cards and ask you this. What's really going on there? How this will escalate? And I have a strong gut feeling that this is going to be one of the reasons to remove the 46th, the current, well, he's not really, but okay, the president out of the White House. So I just want to know what this whole Ukraine situation is really about in the cards, because there's a lot.
So fascinating. First of all, there's 2 cards here, past and present, that indicate this could be a design to illuminate things. It could be somehow, like this is the past. So this has been prepared as an expose of sorts. And the inquirers are showing up in this beautiful way, where we're not going into the usual modalities, right? You know, propaganda can funnel people down these different streams or modalities, and so many of us, we've become really, you know, we're not just numbed to this. We're actually, all that's happening is opening our hearts. It's deepening us as human beings. So we're coming at this in a really beautiful, balanced way. I mean, yes, it's very hard to hear and feel on some levels. And there is, at this very moment, this kind of overwhelm, energetic overwhelm. I think probably because there's so many irons in the fire, right?
Yes.
Like look what's
Yes.
happening here in Canada, and on and on and on, right? So it's like we're energetically overwhelmed, and yet, oh, there's 3 number 2s here in this tiny little spread. We are open to growing through this experience and learning from it. So what's going to happen? I get a sense that there will be some kind of stalling. There will be some kind of, like, it's not going to just move ahead quickly. It feels like it might go a little bit and then halt,
Pushback.
push back. It's like it's not just whoosh, open the gates and we're going full tilt here. It's like there's a, yeah.
Can I ask you within this, because this really is on my mind lately in regard of this. If we can just pull a card or two specifically for Vladimir Putin, because I feel that the whole point of portraying him as such a demon, there is a reason for, I'm not saying he's perfect, I'm just saying there is this agenda, right? So is he really that bad in this situation? This is my because I think it's all built around this, like this is his fault.
Again, I'm getting in the past, there's been, this has been a group effort. It's not only Russia. There's something going on. Again, like I'm saying, I'm seeing that it's about clearing the air, demystifying things. And it's actually about so I'm not getting that he's a bad guy. I'm getting that he's willing to take a really kind of, well, unpopular stance. And, you know, this is the card of the future, the near future, this Hermit card, meaning sort of standing alone, or, you know, being willing to go out on a ledge, go through some difficulty, but to bring this awareness, to bring some kind of light to something. So, yeah, I don't know if that's making any sense, but that's
it does, because this is him against NATO, okay? NATO, the organization, the military, which Poland is part of, and he doesn't want Ukraine nor any other ex-republic from Russia, Soviet Union, I mean, to be part of that military organization. But so, Ashala, do you see how long this topic or activity will go on? Is there a certain time frame we can see when this ends?
Okay, so we have another 2 here. That's 4 of them. I just turned over the clarifiers. So we've got all 4 of the number 2s here. So what that is telling me is there's a great design to bring balance, to bring unification, to unite polarized opposite, to sort of neutralize a lot of the negativity, a lot of the dark force energy. So it's going to take time, and it feels like it happens in phases. So this is because I'm seeing, first of all, this 2 of kind of starting and stalling. And then I get a bigger, so it continues to kind of grow into a bigger thing, which is concerning, because that starts to feel like we're gathering the whole world and taking sides, and we go back to World War II and so on. But people are so much more educated and aware of what's going on. So it's just this constant revelation of who's bought out by who, what, all of that stuff. And so it might take, so first of all, I'm going to give you the long range, but please, this is not set in stone. This is just getting prepared to be in this navigation, because this is big stuff, right? It's huge stuff. It's kind of resetting the whole global arena. So the long range feels like it could be even as long as 1.5 years or 2 years. But don't panic, because it doesn't mean that there's constant upheaval during that time. It means there's a lot of negotiations going on. There's a lot of things being brought, like this. This is the card related to communication, literally documents, writing, like I just feel like this is like a kind of like a Watergate scandal, only it's on a global level. It's just this like nonstop, like things coming out and then negotiations happening. And that, so for us to stay in this place of not going into feeling victimized, not going into that fear, following certain streams of propaganda that are trying to take us down that road. So we overreact and do something irreversible, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, this is big. This is a big deal, but it's also a little deal, meaning it's just to get the ball rolling. It's just to get the bigger conversations that need to happen, the bigger disclosures that need to happen. It's to get that happening. I hope that's a little bit.
It does. No, it does. I actually understand a lot what you're saying, because I got this sense when you were talking about it that this is almost like historical inner work. If this makes sense, what I'm trying to say, it's like, this is what you really.
Totally. I even get that things over the last couple of hundred years are going to be brought to the surface. Like, there's going to be a lot of backtracking and going through records and all of that sort of stuff. So, and I just have to say, Anya, I'm really grateful that you asked this question. I was hoping you were going to, because again, as I've said many times before, if I were to just do cards on this myself, I'm not going to get that same kind of, like, I had no idea. I have no real attachment or opinion to this whole experience. I'm like everyone else, I can see, I can just see the magnitude of it. And I can also see, based on what's been unfolding globally over the last few years, especially the last couple of years, that there's so much more going on than we understand. And that
the point of they create the informations with intentions of generating certain emotions from the people and certain opinion, to build a certain opinion. So they create those informations. Now, that's why when I look at this, what's unfolding, I'm like, there is a lot of this is not true. I just feel it. Yes. A lot of it is not true. Exactly. There is a portion, of course, there is a conflict, but how it's been presented and how this has been, like heated up constantly. And so with this, let's end this question, but I want to finish with the 46, the current.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, I don't know if you know how to call this creation, whatever it is. So is this going to somehow, because this is my sense, is this whole situation with Putin is going to almost be like, when someone is standing on this bench and they push him to jump from the back. I feel like this is going to be like a push, like he's out of this.
Well, it's almost like a bit, what I'm seeing here is a bit reminiscent of what's going on in Canada right now. Like, what it feels like is the push is deeper and deeper into incompetency. But whether or not it is an instant ousting, it's almost like there's a purpose served of it not to move too quickly. I don't know what that means, but it's like there's something about it dragging a little bit, because as it's dragging, it's dredging things up. That's what I'm kind of being shown. It's like we may have to wait, because there's going to be real incompetence, but it's also just going to kind of like slow the whole process down. That's what I'm getting. I get a feeling it doesn't go super fast. There's like this dragging kind of feeling.
Very
And
interesting.
yeah. And again, it just continues to illustrate, and this question is being asked in Canada now, like, well, actually, who is really running our country? Because it clearly seems that our prime minister and his cabinet are not. Like, so there's that feeling that there's a lot going on behind the scenes here. And this sort of front presentation persona is it has a role. There's some reason that it's sort of still there, and just it's hard for me to explain exactly, but I mean, I want to say we've got those two great cards again, and I really shuffled. We've got that Sun and the Two of Cups, and this is our present and our near future, meaning like this is the medicine we need. This is the medicine we need right now. And when we look back on this, it will make a lot of sense. I mean, for one thing, the kind of propaganda and stuff, like, it's just really not flying anymore. And if you think about World War II, for example, a lot of what made that whole machinery get into motion and get momentum and go faster and faster was that propaganda was so effective. It was just like, people were like, yeah, sign me up, I'm going to fight, la 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 la, right? And now people are like, wait a minute. Okay, this doesn't make sense. I know people just know too much. They know enough to know, oh, this isn't right, that's fishy, something's going on here. Even the most asleep people are like, I don't know about this. They certainly wouldn't be like throwing their lot in quickly with anything. So there's, that everything is being slowed down to a point where we can actually see the way
Very, very interesting you said this, Ashala, because I feel like time is actually working for us. It really is working for us. And now when you said it, everything is slowing. I literally had an image of when you're playing a movie, right? And then you can slow down this movie and you see a snapshot after snapshot and you see them, but then you actually realize you see certain things which you've missed before because you were watching the whole scene. So this is exactly what's happening right now. Like we are on this level of seeing in between the cuts.
Yes, great analogy. And that is, therefore, that kind of incompetency has a purpose, because it lets us, like, it just lets us observe so clearly what's going on. And even people
pick it up. Yep. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
We are not going to be fooled anymore, and we know this. Now, question number 2 is, in United States, on Friday, which is tomorrow, we will have, I think, at least, if not more, 38,000 truckers, a convoy that is heading from Los Angeles to DC for the State Union. So here we go again. I would like to know how this will unfold and what outcome this will bring in US.
Oh, I just keep getting these cups, these, like that Two of Cups that's come up. And so what that is it is uniting. It's like a uniting in our, like two sovereign sides or representations that come together with a common goal. So there's something really beautiful uniting people, and the outcome is this Ace of Cups. Like it is a heart-opening experience. Like, that is what I've been saying too about our convoy up here, is that, they can lock down their scapegoat and freeze bank accounts and do all these insane things. they can't stop people from caring
Yeah.
about life and about each other. And like, I mean, you know, I was just listening to an incredible podcast this morning about it, and it's like they can't actually believe that this is grassroots. Like they're just like dumbfounded. They're like, where's the leader? Where's the, you know, the one, like, because you can't pin down something that is like
The
so
energy is the energy.
it's the energy. And so it's the same thing with you there. And yeah, you know, let's just look, hold on, I'm going to look at the my two sidebars here. Yeah, this does feel like it'll be interesting. Do you I haven't been following your convoy very closely. Do you understand what their actual, like, are their goals similar to what ours was, just about removing mandates? And
As I believe it is, but I don't think they left, or maybe they are heading now, or it's tomorrow. So I'm not sure exactly where it is at this point. However, is already like planned, and they are going to do it. So I think they have similar approach to this. I don't know exactly. So if someone wants to leave the comment, they can.
yeah, so I'm going to show you this card for a minute. This strength card. You notice the maiden there. She's holding that lion's mouth, and she's actually basically taming the lion with her bare hands and her gentleness. Then beside that, we have the 10 of Cups, which is like, again, all this love, harmony, sweetness, gentleness, compassion. Like, we really are going through this massive awakening, which is heart-centered. And look at this, like, you know, even though there's a history of more intensive, that's that devil underneath, like, you know, in the past, your protests have known to be more you know, violent or whatever, like there's been more extremes happening. And yet it seems like that begins to fade, and there's this new approach, which is, again, more about the nonviolence. It's more about people realizing, you know, we can't fight fire with fire. Like it's come to a point where that is actually the tipping point. We've gone over the tipping point, which means we're going to have the numbers where we don't need to fight fire with fire. That's what our energy is noticing, that we are massive. We are en masse, and like all these cups cards, more of them, Queen of Cups, the Two of Cups, an emotional victory.
So besides that aspect, which is not just awakening to some number of people still, but uniting people on the heart level, which I can see, like in Canada, and well, pretty much that's all around the world. From Canada, it was like that beautiful. It's like that's the center, and that goes everywhere. But is there a particular outcome that they actually will achieve, or they will be suppressed, like they did in Canada? Or no, or it will be different ending, Ashala? That's my question, really.
Different ending, definitely a different ending. And because it's like this Two of Cups. So I get that there's more than one victory here. I get that there's the victory of successfully changing the dynamic of how protests have been operating in the past. And in terms of the mandates, yeah, again, I get there might be some stalling, but there does feel like there's promises going to be made. But even more importantly, there's something really big here about the financials. So this is again, people, I mean, I just was watching something this morning about talking to the actual accountant that ran the GoFundMe and the Give Send Go financial support. And it's just a fascinating story. It's like an hour long. Basically, what's really fascinating about it is that every time one of those platforms was disabled and confiscated, a new one sprung up.
Yes.
And people were like, I mean, because most of the donations were actually not massive. So it was like, well, whatever, I gave $100, I'll give another 100 to this other thing, right?
Yes.
And then when that didn't work, the second one got dismantled. Then they actually people were sending cash with friends. And like, I didn't realize there was like tens of thousands of dollars, maybe even they don't even know how much, that actually showed up. And it was like, people were putting it on the road, like in bins, like it's just phenomenal. So it's like, and then the crypto, and then, all these different like cryptocurrencies that sprang into action and started sharing it was just like, this is what's unstoppable, because it's the numbers. Like, if every one of us that's on our side even gives $1 into 5 different streams, there's going to be money getting to people. Like, it's like they just can't stop it. Like, they can't stop it. So this is a beautiful thing. There's something going to come around the financials. I don't know who the organizers are or what's going on, but it's like they're going to come out of this. They won't have their finances confiscated, or somehow there's going to be a financial win here.
Okay, good. So they are not going to, which is fascism to me. I cannot even comprehend how this was allowed in Canada.
Yes, and this is going to actually be, the guides are saying this is our ace card. This is where we actually get some traction, because it's like, wait a minute, and once these stories start spreading and spreading, which they just will, because I mean, we had like literally, I don't know, tens of thousands of Canadians, average folk, that apparently there was a bank run, because all these people were running to the bank because they'd made like a $50 donation and they were suspecting they were going to have their accounts frozen. So, the banks are just like, what? WTF? Everybody's like,
what a mess, Ashala. What an absolute, and you cannot even sue, because for the first time ever I was watching, I think you have parliament, right, in Canada. So I was watching those I don't know how to call
charades.
It's not
the charades.
Yes. How they exchange their thought forms, okay, or whatever programming. So I was watching this. I said, wait a minute. So whatever they created, this emergency act, or however they call it, that actually allows bank to commit crime like this, and not being the bank cannot be sued for that. Like, you as the owner of the account, and money has been taken away from you, like literally to zero, let's say, and you cannot even take the bank to court to that point. That was like, so I was like, how this can even pass through?
It's the numbers, because there's so many of us that it will crash the whole system. So, and the banks don't want that. Like, they're panicking.
Right. Yes.
They're panicking,
right.
So it's kind of like this, it's like this catch-22. Both sides are like, okay, but
so people will be like, screw you. People like, screw you, bank. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because like, why would you keep your money somewhere where you don't know if you have the money there anymore? It's just, I can't.
It's been a boon on the finance. I'm really happy to see this, because like I said, I just take in all the information from all these different sources, both mainstream and all the amazing, wonderful alternative news. And then when I do these readings, it's like I have some background, and I can just go, oh, that's what you're showing me. And they're just saying, yeah, this is actually a financial, it's going to be, now we're going to be waging a financial war.
Okay. So US Convoy will achieve a lot peacefully.
Yes.
Okay.
Might not get the actual mandates lifted immediately, but there's going to be some discussion and there will be some promises made. Whether or not they actually happen, the point is there will be some really big wins here.
Great. So now my last question is the softie, which who knows what shows up. I have this, I don't know if you remember when I was in UK and we did this reading Ashala about Buckingham Palace and the Queen, and that month of March was coming, and I have this very soft but fresh feeling in me that March will be a very different month in a good way. There is something's gonna happen in March. So my question is quite general because we're gonna see what you will find out now. How the month of March will look like? What's gonna be happening in March overall? Like energies, money, whatever will show up there. It's spring month, you know, so.
Oh, okay. I just got to show you all this. Like,
okay.
here's us, the star, like open, rising to the big overview, seeing the things from this elevated perspective. How is the month of March going to be? The world, which is basically, we're going to go through a great awakening, a great opening. The world is the final card of the major arcana in the tarot. It's like the final gateway. It's like being reborn.
Yeah.
And the best card in the tarot is in our future. The sun, my sunshine is coming in and making it hard to see the sun, but there it is. There's the sun. So, wow. Now we are at the very moment, we are in this state, which is the King of Swords. So there's a lot to sift through. There's a lot of data and information. There's a lot. And what I'm getting is, oh yeah, we're going to see more and more. Now, if you go to my my YouTube channel, I did a forecast for the whole year. And in my forecast, the month of March was the Queen of Cups, which is a lot of like deep emotional, just really opening up and going deep into our feelings and really allowing ourselves to be in that place, in that open, vulnerable place. And what it feels like is we're going through that together, and there will be big secrets. That's the secret card. And beside it, 4 months, April. So April in my reading for the whole year was when there was big disclosure.
Wow. So the month of, I could feel this. It's like we're taking a deep, fresh breath in March.
Yeah.
To be ready for April.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, I love this. So anything else, Ashala?
Every one of them is strong, positive. Like, I'm not kidding you. This is the only one that is even a little bit sort of challenging out of like a dozen cards that I've laid out here is this 5 of Wands, but it's underneath that. It's underneath that King of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles is the strongest character, the strongest. It's like, it's the one that is just like back to the drawing board, like let's get the work done. We've got 2 kings here. We've got that King of Swords and that King of Pentacles. So we are being like challenged. That 5 of Wands underneath is like the challenge card. It's like, a little bit of feisty sort of sparring or chaos, but with all these supportive cards around, it's like, well, we're going to show up and really move through this stuff in a beautiful way. We really are.
Clear-minded, right? Like a fresh, clear air. I almost smell and taste like a clear, fresh air, like spring.
And they're showing, like the work we did last year, last summer and early fall, like we were all really emotionally going through deep, like emotional sensitivity. And that's
Yeah.
sort of been carrying on in waves since then, but we really went through a big thing last summer and early fall. I remember it doing readings every week and being like, oh my gosh, when is this going to stop, Well, and then I was saying around Christmas and into January, we have turned the corner of that. So even though, like, I think if these things would have happened a year ago, we would have all jumped off bridges or something, it's like we didn't have the capacity in our hearts, our minds, or our spirits to like hold space for this kind of chaotic, challenging energy. And yet this is what we came here to do. We came here to learn how to run the obstacle course and get strong from that.
We got equipped energetically too. We got equipped energetically. Yes.
All that work we did, this is what they're showing last year, all that work we did.
Yeah.
When, when we felt like a lot of people were suffering from depression.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, that ego death, that feeling of hopelessness. It's amazing that now that the stakes seem so much higher, people aren't expressing as much hopelessness. They're actually expressing more like inner conviction.
Yes, I agree.
Purposefulness. So this is a beautiful win. I was actually just thinking the other day that, I used to go through phases of depression myself where it would just sort of creep up on me and I just wouldn't feel very motivated, like I usually drive myself pretty consistently, but all of a sudden, I would just be overtaken for like a weekend or a full week with just feeling like, oh, I just can't get myself motivated. And, those things in this last year have become less and less and less frequent. Energetically, I feel a lot of overwhelm sometimes and like a lot of emotion or, some anxiety running through my energetic system. But that feeling of like just being deflated, it's almost non-existent for me now.
May I ask you, because depression has been a very close friend of mine for all my life. But I want to ask you here, and this is quite important actually. In the last, let's say, since this whole pandemic started, okay? How overall that was for you? So what was the depression there occasionally, or it was?
Oh yeah, in the beginning, in that first year, it was definitely probably there more than usual.
Okay.
Definitely feeling like just sort of beaten down and discouraged and and yet I did have those like surges of feeling like, oh, this is my chance to do what I've always wanted to do, and I'm going to really make a difference here, and I'm going to show up in the way I've always been meant to. And I had those moments, but I had a lot of crushing moments where it was just like, oh, like this is just too much. I don't know if I can get through this. Like, really? More? There's more? Oh my God, And now it's like, it's just phenomenal. I'm there like going, oh yeah, Third World War and our country's in like fascist regime. No problem. Well, not no problem, but it's kind of like, yeah, right? We kind of are saying we've been seeing this all along. So good. Now it's coming out. Like, and there's something, I don't know, that I feel just more psychologically and spiritually liberated as a result of all this.
Right. But, on that subject, Ashala, because I had really severe depressions in my life, to the point of considering how to commit suicide. Never attempting, but considering how. Okay. So that was very serious in my life. And what really surprised me, that in those last 2 years or more, whatever, no, 2 years actually, what we have March coming, so it will be 2 years.
Yeah.
Through all these events, I actually have not experienced depression. I had moments when I was sad or tired or exhausted or sick, like lately, energetically.
Yes.
But I didn't experience that kind of depression like that. Like when I felt that something is like slowly, it was almost like a wave was coming. I could recognize that energy wave. And then I was like, no, because if I step on it, it's gonna take me. But I didn't experience this. And I always say this to people. I said, guys, if we are still alive, there is a reason for it. How many people didn't make it? How many people chose, that's their sole choice, whatever it is, not to make it? However, I feel that depression, I ask myself often, was it really us going through those emotions, or was there a certain frequency, radiation, programming that was setting us off of our own DNA aligned and in balance? How much of it is ours? How much of it is thrown on us, right?
I absolutely believe that. I believe that this has been, when you were speaking, Anya, when you were talking about, like the waves, and I was actually seeing something almost like a cage. And it's like, we've been in this cage.
Yep.
And, then the lock came off, but we had to actually open the door and go out of it. And then once we're out, like, I mean, the cave was whatever, or the cage was like it kind of protected us in a way too. So we're free now, but now we've got like, freedom is like pretty overwhelming, right? It's like, oh my gosh,
now where to go, where to go,
where to go, what to do. And like, and energetically but it's a totally different kind of energy. It's a different kind of overwhelm. It's like an overwhelm of like, oh my gosh, okay, now we are in absolute control of destiny. And so that's so like invigorating, and it's also so energetically overwhelming. Whereas before we didn't have that option, so we were like, but we were depressed because we couldn't choose.
Yes.
Yeah.
But just before we end this, when you speak, I often receive like snapshots, like images. So now you were saying, I literally, this cage, it's so powerful image. I saw it, and that door you said, so on point. We had to open the door and come out, and then you said, now like where to go, what to do. And I saw this while I lived in Las Vegas so many years. So they have those buffets, right, in the casinos. So I saw this buffet that is like at the Wynn, let's say, that has all the best stuff, and now we are standing in the front of it, and we are like, you know what, I just turn around and go to some very simple place with fresh food, and I don't have to think too much what to choose, because it's this it's interesting, like we might actually realize that we really don't need that many options. We just need the right option for us.
This is so right. Yes. And that overwhelm of, because once you remove yourself from the dependency on the powers that be, well, then you really are kind of like out of that cage. And then it's like, okay, now what matters to me? Because we haven't really been given permission to even ask ourselves that. Like, we've been stuck in this cage of like, if you're going to survive here, you got to basically be in this cage, and we're going to tell you what you have to do to get fed, to get sheltered, to get whatever, and there might be these like perks that we toss at you, but that's just to get you to do what we want you to. So this is a totally different experience, and we will. And the beautiful thing, I want to close off by saying, Spirit said to me to tell all of you that we all are going to get our 2-year badges. We're going to get our badges of like, we completed the 2-year program. It's like a graduation is what they were showing me.
That's so funny. That's so funny. But honestly, I tell you what, I want to be happy, healthy, free, and abundant in whatever form it is. But first and foremost, I want to feel like I have this saying, and we have this saying in Polish, and I wish this when I give people wishes. I say it in Polish, żeby nam się chciało chcieć, which means like I wish you, so you still have any desires to do things. Like if you don't desire to do anything, it's like whatever. Like you have to want to do things, but it's coming from within. And I think this is really a life force going through us. And if we don't have that, it doesn't matter. We can have like the best buffet, the best whatever, but we have no inner energy.
Incentive.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's where we're in that process now of really discovering those incentives, those inner motivations, and what actually really matters to us. And that will be power. That will be unstoppable power. You know, and it's okay that many of us are still like these vulnerable little beings huddling outside the cage, like, I don't know, I'm scared, like, I don't know what to do, you know? That's okay, because every day we're going to get a little bit more confident and step a little further out into the unknown, and eventually we'll be like, woohoo!
Now we are the explorers. Now we are the explorers.
We are the explorers.
Ashala, it's always such a joy to connect with you. And I want to thank everyone watching for such a support and liking our conversations, because I truly enjoy connecting with Ashala. I think you can tell, you can feel it from me. And support Ashala too on her YouTube channel. If you're interested in the reading with Ashala, just like the one we had, you know where to find her. Yes, say Ashala.
I actually have a special on right now. It was the special for the 22nd of February to the 22nd of March, and it's 22% off. So I'm going to send you the coupon code for that when people go on, so they can go onto my website, go into the booking. When they go through the checkout, put that coupon code on, and you'll get 22% off. So.
Perfect. So you know what to do if you're interested in reading with Ashala. And thank you so much for connecting again. I really, really appreciate today.
My pleasure, Anya. Thank you.